Well, good morning, everybody. How are you? Did everyone have an amazing 4th of July? I couldn't believe the fireworks. I couldn't believe it. It's like one corner of the house. I'm like, are they going to burn the town down? Holy hell, it was crazy. Now, on Friday, my husband was coming home early. We did our live in Discord. And if you want to come to Discord, send me an email. I will send it to customer service and they will get you set up. Now, I went above customer service over the weekend and I sent an invite to my husband. So we'll see how that shakes out because, well, sometimes as much as I love him, he doesn't know how to act. But it was a superb weekend as far as the 4th goes. I really don't even know where to start with today's show. There is so much going on. Obviously, the flood in Texas is on everyone's mind. It is Noah biblical, okay? It is horrific. As of this morning, the latest I got, 82 people washed away. When the Department of Defense gets involved, then you know it's bad. It is horrible. And we will get to that in a minute. And I'm going to do a separate show. If you guys want to do it later this afternoon, we can. If you'd rather do it tomorrow, we can do it tomorrow. But first, I'm going to embarrass a friend of mine. Her name is Jennifer. We don't need her last name. There she is with her beautiful daughter, Skylar. She reminds me every year that I'm almost a month older than her. Well, today, Jennifer, I'm blasting you, girlfriend. We have been best friends since 5th grade, 10 years old. We have been through birthday parties, slumber parties. We have frozen each other's bras. We have talked about boys. We have been in each other's weddings. And today, you are 50. First text I get every year on my birthday is from Jennifer. Every Jennifer. Every year. She always reminds me it's my birthday. All the time. And so I said this year, I'm going to do it up big. Remember, it's Jennifer with one N. Okay? She has corrected me on that since I was 10 years old. Now let's get to 4th of July. I could not believe that on 4th of July, there was people out burning the American flag. And all I can say about that, I'm going to start with my father-in-law. There he is. My father-in-law served 3 tours in Vietnam. He's no longer with us, but from him, I will say, you're welcome, because he fought for your freedom to do such a nasty thing. From my son, Craig, who was in the Air Force, I will just go ahead and say, you're welcome, because he fights for your freedom every day so you can do such nasty things. From my son Kent, who did 2 tours in Kuwait, I'm going to say, you're welcome. Because he risked his life, like many others, for you to do such nasty ass things. From my son Scott, who served in South Korea, you're welcome. You are welcome. Because these people put their lives on the line so you can do such shitty things. Let's go ahead and tell everybody good morning. Happy Monday, and we're going to talk about Texas for a minute. Woo! Woo! Real Rockin' Robin said it should be a crime to burn the flag, in my opinion. Well, it actually is a crime. However, some of the cities that they do it in, they like anarchy. They love division. They love all of that. Now then, I could not take my eyes off the TV all weekend. I had to go outside in the heat. And of course, eat a bunch of damn ribs, hamburgers, and hot dogs to get my mind off of it. Because I could not imagine 4th of July weekend, Independence Day weekend. Kids are at camp. People are camping. You know, fireworks are going off. And a 30-foot wall of water comes at you. These children are in shock, the ones that survived. And there's many more after the 82 they have found that are missing. Please look at these little boys and what they had to say.
Let's see. All right. So what's your name, bud?
Hi, my name is Ruffin Boyette. I'm one of the campers from Camp Lahana, one of the camps that flooded. And I had a firsthand view of the flood. And so the cabins were flooding and the walls were like, they broke down. And all of the campers in those cabins had to go up on the rafters and they had to wait there until they could swim out. And my brother here, he had to swim out of his cabin.
Really?
If it wasn't on the news, I would have thought it was a Hollywood movie coming out. You know, like that movie Day After Tomorrow. This is horrible. This is horrible. What did they call it? A 200-year storm? Robert said, what happened with Summer Wells? We'll get to that after we talk about this. Okay? I promise. We got plenty of time. And Chango says he wants someone to take his theory seriously. The link is pinned, Chango. All you have to do is grab it and come up and tell us your theory. We're open-minded and we will listen.
Here, do you want to here, can I mic you up, son? Here you go. One moment. Okay. And so you had to swim out of your cabin?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
So the flood started getting bigger and it was going up to, we have bunk beds in our cabins and it was going up to the top bunk and we had one choice and we had to swim out of our cabins.
What time was it? Was this
It was
dark?
like, we woke up at
Yeah,
2
we had to wake up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Top bunk. Top bunk. Kids are up on the rafters clinging for life. clinging for life. And when people say, well, they should have known better, they should have known better. It's an act of God, dude. It's an act of God. You can't blame victims that got washed down the river, okay? You can't blame the people that were trying to save people. Texas flood is Donald Trump, nothing to do with Summer Wells. How the hell did he cause a flood? He don't know shit about the weather. Good God.
What'd you wake up to? Say people telling you to wake up?
I didn't
Yeah,
fall
people were
asleep.
screaming.
I didn't fall asleep. Like, I couldn't sleep because of the lightning.
Yeah, people were screaming that there was a flood. There was a lot of water on the floor.
Yeah, I was the first one awake, and basically one of the other kids in my cabin, he woke up the counselor, and the counselor was like, what? And then all the other campers woke up.
Yeah.
So that what? And they're like, oh my God, we're flooding.
Yeah, and some cabins like flooded away,
So what did
but
you
nobody died.
No one died.
Yeah.
We are thankful for that. But on the way here, we saw all of like the other camps destroyed, like obliterated.
and can you tell me how'd you guys get out of there? They put you guys on buses or did you have
Yes,
to wait?
Yeah, we had to get on a bus.
Yes, we had to get on a bus. We were in other cabins for like cabins on hills for about 17 hours
We
waiting
hosted a
the
cabin.
buses get here. And
Poor babies, they're in shock. They are in shock. Twister said, I didn't say nothing about the kids. Well, I'm not saying that you did. I'm not saying that you did. This is crazy. And these kids are so articulate, and so many of these people that have spoken out, they're just so happy to have their life, and they're in shock. Absolute shock. You can tell they're in shock. Total shock. These boys are so articulate. They really are. They are so articulate to describe what happened to them.
it was not fun.
It was not fun.
What are your names, guys?
My name's Pierce Boyette and his name is...
And my name is Ruffin Boyette.
Okay, and how do I spell those guys?
It's
R-U-F-F-I.
Let's
P-I-E-R-S.
do Pierce first.
P-I-E-R-S.
Okay, and your last name?
B-O-I-E-T-T.
B-O-I what?
E-T-T. No E at the end.
Got it. All right, and Ruffin, how do I spell your name?
R-U-F-F-I-N.
Okay, so you guys like, sounds like a really long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling right now?
Tired. Not hungry. At least not anymore.
All right, I'm glad you guys are okay. Thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it. Can I get those mics back?
Yes. Horrible. 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 Let's take a second and have a moment of silence for all the victims, because not everybody made it out safe. Impossible. Okay? Horrible. Horrible. Southern Shortcake said, why does everything have to be Trump's fault? No, he's easy to blame. He's easy to blame. Nobody blamed the last president when Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina was underwater, and people are still recovering from that. People didn't blame the last president when the state of Florida was obliterated by a hurricane. But hey, whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do. Now, let's get to Dawn's goofy ass, okay? I cannot find anything saying that the gag order has been lifted. I can't find one thing. And I do not like, I'm going to steal Michelle After Dark's wording. I do not like the emotional blackmail that has been put on Josie. What does Don and Candace want? The state is not just going to return Josie to them because he's up for adoption. And again, remember, the link is pinned. The link is pinned. I can't find anything saying that the gag order has been lifted. Now, this is what we're dealing with right now. Okay? July 5th. We miss you, Josie. Your church misses you. We pray for you all day long. Trust God, Dad, Mom. Okay? I don't care if Johnny Cochran and Robert Shapiro and F. Lee Bailey all appear, and Robert Kardashian all appear. They are not going to turn around what Dawn and Candace put pen to paper to give up their children. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Then we get to this. I don't know why we have a picture of a slushie. I'm going to assume it's because Candace bought slushies for everybody on June 15th, 2021. So there's a picture of a slushie. Thinking of you, Josie, Wyatt, Waylon, Summer. Okay, now we get to this. TBI update. We would like to thank the TBI for calling us and asking if they could come look over the road below our house. Thank you for not forgetting our daughter Summer Moon Utah Wells. Hold on. They don't need your permission to search the road. And if what Dawn is saying is true and they've searched their house 11 times and have been all over the property, then why was July 3rd such a special day? The road? They don't need permission to search the road below their house. Now, they could ask for permission to search the property again and be like, hey, it's easier than getting a warrant, which we'll get either way, considering Summer's been missing for over 4 years. That'd be like the police saying, hey, Brooks, is it okay if we drive down your street? Hell am I going to do about it? I don't own the street. What am I going to do? It makes no sense. But again, I cannot find anything that says that the gag order has been lifted. And the gag order is real.
Days, deputies have arrested the father of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells twice, the most recent being today while he was in court.
Now, Don Wells was initially arrested Saturday on several charges, including driving under the influence. During an arraignment this morning, the judge appointed Wells a public defender and reset the hearing. to February.
While in court, Wells was arrested for violation of probation. He was released on his own recognizance, meaning he did not post bail money, but pledged in writing to appear in court for all upcoming proceedings.
Now, of course, this is an old clip where they're talking about Don's DUI and they're talking about the gag order. ICU is a great researcher. And so is Kat. So is Pat. There are many great researchers. Not me. However, with what little bit I can get to, I see nothing about this gag order being lifted. Let's take a second and say thank you to Diana Howry for gifting a shit ton of Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Singing in the rain, I'm singing in the rain. Thank you for making it rain, Diana Howry.
News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel was in court today where Wells told the judge he has been working on his house and, in his words, things for welfare to get his boys back.
Josh and Sarah, Donald Wells did appear for an arraignment here in Rogersville earlier this morning. He was here over those DUI charges from this past weekend. And while he was being arraigned, he was arrested again for violation of probation. We are working to determine what exactly he violated. However, a gag order has been issued on the Child Protective Services case involving he and Candace Bly's older sons.
Okay. Ansley was in court. I was not. They were told that there is a gag order for the older sons. Now, the only way a gag order is lifted is if a judge lifts it, okay? Remember, Waylon and Wyatt have been adopted by another family. Josie wants to be adopted. He wants to be adopted. What they are doing on this Facebook page is some sort of emotional blackmail. Again, what do they want? Do they want Josie to run away? Like Candace's daughter did in Wisconsin? She didn't give a shit when she did. We'll get to that in a little bit. What is the outcome here? Since they're not complying with a judge's order to quit talking about their minor sons. This is horrible for these boys. And the number of times that these two have broken the law and gotten away with it makes me sick. I'm almost right there with the conspiracy theorists that say, hell, they might have something on the sheriff. I don't know. They might have something on the DA. Hell, at this point, nothing would surprise me. Hell, remember Billy Joe Howe? She had to spend 10 days in jail because she went on Cher's channel and violated a gag order. Oh, she did. She did. Sat there in her damn vest and everything. This is crazy. Now, I don't know exactly what TBI can do with them. I would think their local jurisdiction would be watching this and say, hey, Dan Armstrong, it's time to put them in their place. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put Boy Mom in her place right now because she got engaged on July 2nd. Look at that. Let's please have a huge, huge congratulations and round of applause for Boy Mama. Congratulations, girlfriend. Congratulations to you and your lucky groom.
Of probation. We are working to determine what exactly he violated. However, a gag order has been issued on the Child Protective Services case involving he and Candace Bly's older sons. It was issued by juvenile court judge Daniel Boyd, and it reads, all parties to this action are hereby prohibited from discussing this matter or the children with the media or any other non-essential person, entity, and or uninvolved or disinterred parties or person.
Okay, let's look at that again. You know, with Don, he might think he doesn't have to follow that anymore since that judge is no longer a judge. He got in trouble. He did. We've done a show about it. He put he did some things with his divorce papers, and he got in trouble. That does not mean that the gag order goes away. No, not at all. Judges die. It doesn't mean that when they die, their decisions go with them. It doesn't happen that way. It says it is ordered that all parties to this action are hereby prohibited from discussing this matter or the children with the media or any other non-essential person, entity, / or uninvolved or disinterred parties and or persons. Okay. This has to do with the boys. Now, these are big words for Don and Candace. These are huge words for Don and Candace. Huge words.
Interred parties or person. Wells confirmed to me back in July that their older sons had been taken by Child Protective Services, but he wouldn't tell me why. I did reach out to the court-appointed attorneys for the Wells family about why a gag order was placed on a juvenile court case, which is normally already kept confidential anyways. I did hear back from one who declined to comment, and I'm still waiting on a response from the other. In Rogersville, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Horrible. Horrible. And I know some people don't like it. They call it child exploitation when a child is put on the news to get the word out that a child wants to be adopted. Okay. We used to have this thing in Tulsa. It's called waiting child. And that way a child would be adopted. Just like they have picnics and stuff like that where adoptive parents can go and people that want to adopt and they can meet the children. Josie doesn't have much time to get adopted. He really doesn't. And just my opinion, of course, you can have yours. I can't change your mind. I'm not here to change your mind. I would say use everything in the toolbox to get him to a nice home. Please do it. Please do it. It wouldn't hurt if his father would tell the truth.
This is Don Wells. We're here to report to you that we've got official letters from the heads of DCS that we are cleared from any abuse or neglect on our parts towards our children. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello, everyone. This is Don Wells. We're here to report to you that we've got official letters from the heads of DCS that we are cleared from any abuse or neglect on our parts towards our children. Thank you very much.
Because you signed them over. Okay? You don't have to be a constitutional attorney to understand. You signed them over. They're out of harm's way. Okay? Now you see Allie's family. True. She got some, I'll just say some child neglect charges put on her. Sherry got child charges on her. And if you have been cleared, Dawn, if you have been cleared, then the adoption would be reversed and Josie would be returned to you. You know how I know? Because I made phone calls to a few attorneys in Tennessee. In your area, big boy. In your area, big boy. That said no. Unsubstantiated. It's not cleared. It's not cleared. Now, I invited one to come on the channel. He cannot do it till Wednesday, and he's going to explain this court document for those in the back. Is anyone interested in what he says? Because we know some people will never be convinced. Lolo said our news would do Tuesday's child, and they would feature a child needing adoption each Tuesday. They would break all kinds of laws today. I don't know. I don't know about that. Ooh, look at that. Real Rockin' Robin said, bravo, Brooks. Very interested. And how does a child exactly get adopted without using the tools of the media? How? How? People make it sound like kids are just sitting around a damn orphanage and people walk through and go, I'll take that one. Doesn't work that way. We know that. Of course, I mean, every state's different. Okay? Now the question is, with the gag order still in place, and the fact that, according to Dawn, they've been totally cleared of all wrongdoing. Now remember, Boy Mama called the TBI a few weeks ago. She came, she grabbed the link, and was told Dawn and Candace are still suspects. The question is, would you trust Dawn and Candace with another chance to take care of children? Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time to Candace's daughter that she had when she was in Wisconsin. Her name is also Candace. She is married now, Candace Fludden, and she had a hell of a time growing up, foster care after foster care after foster care. And guess who did not give a shit about her? Her mom, her grandma, her dad. Look at this.
Today we're going to talk about Candace Wells' other daughter, who also went missing. This is Candace Wells Bly's oldest daughter. Her name is also Candace. She went missing on February 28th, 2017. It said that her and her friend were last seen leaving their home for school on Tuesday morning and never arrived at school. But it looks like her and her friend were found less than a week after they went missing. So that is great news. But
how many people can go missing from one family? You've got two that can't be found. Summer and Candace's sister, Rose Bly. And no, I'm not saying Candace is involved in either of the disappearances. Her daughter, Candace Fludden, who responded to people in Facebook groups all the time, talking about how abusive her mom really is. You know how she knew? Because when she aged out of foster care, that is the word. That is the word. When she aged out, she wanted all her records. She wanted all of the information as to what happened to her. She saw everything from meth to abuse to neglect Well, we've seen their house. Seems to me that the house in Wisconsin was just as bad. Now, Candace will tell you because she was only 19, she didn't, this is her words, know no better. Didn't know no better. All right, so she has more children. Again, the question is, would you give them another chance? When are they going to know better? When will they know better?
She went missing again in 2018. This was February 5th, 2018. Duluth, Minnesota. Police are asking for the public's help to locate 2 missing teens who were last seen around Canal Park. The department posted the call for help on its social media account, stating 15-year-old Audrey Patricia Nash and 15-year-old Candace Jean Floden have not been located, and they are concerned for their well-being. But thankfully, they were located this time as well. Actually, about 2 days later, it says the 2 teens who went missing in Canal Park on Saturday turned themselves in to the Minneapolis Police Department Tuesday evening. 15-year-old Candace Floden and Audrey Nash were with a group on a field trip when they went missing. Police believe they were runaways. Praise to God that they were found. Candace turned 18 this year, I believe, in 2021. She needs our prayers too, guys. Her and her brother Andrew have been through it. The young Miss Candace has 2.
Good for electronic medium. Put electronic, I got a cough. Hang on. Oh my gosh. My cough turned into a sneeze. I about peed. Y'all ever have a cough and a sneeze all at once? And let's face it, after having 3 babies, your bladder doesn't exactly work as well as it did when you were 15. Oh, they all have the same damn names. It's crazy. Got tons of Dons, got tons of Candaces, got some Andrews. I mean, you got it all. I don't know how the hell they keep up with it. But again, our friend electronic medium. Now, remember, she does the psychic stuff, okay? She does the psychic stuff, and that's fine by me. That's what she does. I don't do that over here, okay? I can't see the future, and I can't see the past. I can barely remember the past. I have a weird memory. She caught hell for this. You can guess from who. It's all the truth. It is all the truth. These are news articles. They were on a field trip, and those girls ran away. They ran away, had to go to another foster home. Take a guess as to who didn't give a shit. What's your answer? Who didn't give a shit that her daughter was missing? Can't. Remember, when this beautiful girl, Candace III, I'll just say Candace III, reached out to her biological egg donor, Candace Bly Wells, I think she just wanted some information. Well, that's what she said. I don't have to think. It's what she said. After her biological egg donor asked her for money to get cigarettes, and she told her she didn't have any money, she told her to F off. Okay?
18 this year, I believe, in 2021. She needs our prayers too, guys. Her and her brother Andrew have been through it. So young Miss Candace has 2 Facebook accounts, one under Candace Floden and one under Candy Floden. And people have been asking her some questions on Facebook. Here someone asks Candace, so Candace is your sister? And Candace replies, no, Candace R. Wells Bly is my bio mother. Candace Harrer is my bio grandmother. Summer is my half sister because she got divorced from Andrew. Andrew is my bio dad. I have a brother named Andrew as well. He's Candace R. Wells Bly's oldest. My Aunt Rosemary Bly, the one that's been missing for 10 years. In another post, young Miss Candace explains, she says, I was adopted at 6 months, put back into foster care around the age of 12, along with my brother, same name as my bio father. I was told my bio mom was a meth head and abused us as babies. She has a record. Not sure if she has one where she is now in Tennessee, but...
Okay, the question of the day. Should Dawn and Candace get another shot at parenthood? Should they? I think you can guess my answer. I guarantee you can guess my answer. So this is... Actually, no, I'm going to start with this. I don't want to get too personal. How old were you all when you had your first child? I was 18. Yep. I showed pictures of my kids at the beginning of this show. I was 18, then 19, and then 20. I couldn't imagine going around saying, but I didn't know no better. I didn't know no better. And some people give her sympathy for that. They really do. So she says, I was adopted at 6 months, put back into foster care around the same age of 12, along with my brother. I was told my bio mom was a meth head. Okay. She has the paperwork. I don't. And abuses as babies. Again, she has the paperwork, not me. She has a record, not sure if she has one where she is now in Tennessee, but she has one or a few in Wisconsin for sure. I've never met any other siblings besides my bio. I know as much as you guys. I'm sorry I can't be of much help. This is her side of why my brother and I got taken in her records for Wisconsin. So what is she saying? What she is saying is what you're listening to. What you're listening to is Candace Bly Wells shooting smoke up your ass. Okay? Shooting smoke up your ass about why she has custody of no children she's given birth to. Now, I'm not saying that relates to murder. I'm not saying that it correlates with the disappearance of Summer Wells. It is something to consider.
Name as my bio father. I was told my bio mom was a meth head and abused us as babies. She has a record. Not sure if she has one where she is now in Tennessee, but she has one or a few in Wisconsin for sure. I've never met any other siblings besides my bio mom she's talking about. I know as much as you guys. She's talking about Summer. I'm sorry I can't be of much help. This is her side of why my brothers and I got taken and her records for Wisconsin. So here we see Candace Bly's explanation to her daughter. She says, well, I was with someone that I thought loved me and I wanted a family, but I was wrong and I have no excuse. But I was only 19 and he was 42. He was into drugs and I didn't know what they were at the time. So I tried it and I didn't like it and I told him I didn't. And he kept telling me if I didn't do them with him, he would take you and your brother away from me. But he was a very controlling person. If I didn't do something right or his way, he berated on me. I tried to leave with y'all, but we live a long way out of town and I could never get out. Then the courts got involved and I was given a choice, either let you go to a family or they were going to take you. So I signed you over so y'all could have a better life and a chance to be better than I was. But I have gotten a lot better now. I don't use, haven't in over 15 years. You do have a half sister and 3 brothers, and even if you don't want anything to do with me, can we at least try to be friends?
OMG. The victim. The victim. Candace, the victim. Well, I was 19 and he's 42. I didn't know what drugs were. And he was basically making me do drugs. And we lived so far away, I couldn't get help from anybody. Now, hang on. I see you just read my mind. So this is the second time she signed away her rights. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. Let that sink into your brain. Have to be kidding me.
But I was wrong and I have no excuse. But I was only 19 and he was 42. He was into drugs and I didn't know what they were at the time. So I tried it and I didn't like it and I told him I didn't. And he kept telling me if I didn't do them with him, he would take you and your brother away from me. But he was a very controlling person. If I didn't do something right or his way, he berated on me. I tried to leave with y'all, but we live a long way out of town and I could never get out. Then the courts got involved and I was given a choice, either let you go to a family or they were going to take you. So I signed you over so y'all could have a better life and a chance to be better than I was.
Now, she went to jail for the abuse, okay? She didn't want to go back to jail. And so she signed her rights over. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Anyone? We heard Dawn earlier in the show. We've been cleared. We've been cleared. If you were cleared, then Waylon and Wyatt's adoption would be reversed. And Josie, with a quickness, would be back with you.
But I have gotten a lot better now. I don't use, haven't in over 15 years. You do have a half sister and 3 brothers, and even if you don't want anything to do with me, can we at least try to be friends? So I just feel like we need to send some prayers her way to her and her brother Andrew. We know they've been through a tough time. On her Facebook post, she has a comment. It says, "Remember when they told me that we finally made it through the rain?" I wonder if that's a picture of her brother. Does anyone know? Please leave a comment if you know. On this post, she says, "Live to the fullest. You don't know when your time is to come. And isn't that the truth?" Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.
Horrible. Horrible. And the title of the show is The TBI Search, I Know What Happened. It's simple 8th grade civics. In my humble opinion, somebody is using the Find Summer Wells Facebook page to spread lies. They do not need their permission to search a right-of-way. They don't. They do not need their permission to search around the road. They don't. That'd be like when the city comes by here to repair curbs. I can't go out and tell them no because it's owned by the county. So why weren't they out there with their handy dandy cell phones taking videos? They know how to do that. Do they not? Do they not? All right. We've seen this a million times before. A million times before. Hey, remember that movie with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere? Not Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride? Can't is Runaway Mom. When it gets hot in the kitchen, give her a pen. Give her a pen and some paper from the county. And she'll sign it. And then she'll find someone to listen to her bullshit about being a victim.
Josh and Sarah, several of our colleagues have spoken with Summer's mother off camera. She has even provided videos and photos of her daughter. But tonight, for the first time, she shares her account of what happened the night her daughter went missing, and like her husband, that she believes her 5-year-old girl was taken.
We really miss her very much. She was the angel, our blessing.
Okay, so this is roughly 2 weeks after little Summer Wells vanished into thin air. She was our blessing. We miss her very much. She was. Did you ever hear Sean Hornbeck's mother use the word was? Talking about her missing son, Sean Hornbeck? Nope. Did you ever hear JC DeGard's mother use the word was? Talking about her missing daughter, JC DeGard? Nope. Did you ever hear Elizabeth Smirt's family use the word was? Talking about the disappearance of Elizabeth? Have you ever heard Brandy Vaughn say was in regards to Michael Vaughn? But Iron Uterus here, she seems to know everything. Ice Ovaries seems to know everything. Was.
The love of our life. She's what made our world go around.
It's been 13 days since Candace Bly and Donald Wells last saw their 5-year-old daughter, Summer.
I'm just scared that somebody's hurting her, and there's nothing I can do about it. It smothers me.
As the almost 2-week-long search through the rough terrain scales back.
Again, the link is pinned. Don't be shy. Grab it and tell me what you think.
Summer's parents say they believe someone took their daughter.
Personally, I think someone came up here and grabbed her and ran down the hill.
I think so
and
too.
threw her in a car and drove as far away as they could from this area.
I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here.
Around 6:30 in the evening on June 15th, her father called to report her missing, but he wasn't home yet from work.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And
Hold on, I think Ernie's in here. Ernie, can you grab the link? I want to ask you a question. I'm not going to ask you something that you can't answer. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I have a question. And it's not about you.
And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer. I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
Summer has 3 older brothers.
When they get out of line, she'd put them in line.
Her parents say she loves princesses, especially the movie Frozen, and to be outside.
She loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl." And she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl until my arm got tired.
She'd love to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing and enjoy dirt.
Now, authorities are looking for the driver of a red Toyota Tacoma that was in the area around the time Summer went missing, and stressing that this person is a potential witness.
I've never seen this truck, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. I mean, if you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen.
No one has been named a suspect, and authorities have not ruled Summer's disappearance as an abduction. But tonight, her parents have one plea.
Please find it in your heart, have mercy, and find a way of letting her go and where we can get her back.
Please bring her back home.
Just let her come home, please.
We miss her so much. Her brothers are so devastated that they wake up every morning crying for their sister. And as a mother, it really hurts to see your other children crying.
Well, for the last few days, we have referred to Candace's mother as Candace Wells because that's what she went by on Facebook. But tonight she told me that her name is Candace Bly, and Bly is her maiden name.
Yeah, okay. Her and Dawn are married. Always playing games. Always, always, always playing games. Okay, our friend Twisted True Crime Cindy clipped this where Dawn was complaining about the search. Again, the question of the day. Actually, there's two. Do you think TBI really needed their permission to search anything? And question two, since they are violating the gag order and they keep screaming that they want Josie back, they don't say Waylon and Wyatt come home. Josie has been the target for years. And I can use his name because they do. They do. I'm not exploiting a minor. I would not be surprised if he's not adopted for the wrong reasons, my friends. There is a lot of people on this planet. Well, I wouldn't say the planet. I would just say certain areas that really want answers for Summer. And I could see somebody going through the motions, doing the 8-week class, becoming a foster parent, wanting to adopt him, just to see what he knows about what happened that day. And they're going to have to heavily vet whoever wants to adopt him. And it's a really sad thing. And there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason for it. That the family that adopted the younger two brothers did not adopt Josie. All right. So second question. Would you give Dawn and Candace, pretend to be the judge, would you give them, I'm just going to say, their 50th chance to be good parents?
They're the ones evil.
That is.
Come on with all this evil stuff. Oh, shit. They're the ones that need to be looking in the mirror. Just look at the pictures I posted. I posted every picture I had in the hopes of finding Summer, and everybody turned it into something evil.
Dave Radar, he's not law enforcement, okay? He's with EquuSearch, and he was there to search for Summer. He never bought Dawn's history of events when he wasn't there. He didn't buy Candace's timeline. Nothing to him made sense. So Dawn, who said that he would go and just talk to the police all the time, that's how he says that the police had to go talk to the police to see what they were working on. Of course, we're not telling him what they have dug up, what they're thinking. They're not going to tell him unless they 100% knew he had nothing to do with it. Sometimes law enforcement is very transparent with families, but that's only when they have been totally 100% clear. 100% clear. EquuSearch, well, they're like us, okay? They can have an opinion just like the rest of us. Dawn was really concerned about EquuSearch out there looking for Summer, and he went nuts about them searching.
Mm-hmm.
How dare they? How dare they?
People were selling candles with Summer's picture on it?
Yeah, a friend of ours shut that down.
Yeah, I threatened her yesterday too. I said all the money better either go to EquuSearch or something, but you need to cease like all.
I wouldn't send crap to. I wouldn't send shit to EquuSearch because all they are is some glorified searchers that just come out here and party it up, and they go to the lake and swim. They don't do shit.
Wait,
what have they done? EquuSearch? What have they done? Tell me, what have they done?
Didn't you want them to come back? Aren't they coming back?
Well, yeah, but not when they're trying to benefit off the money. That's all they want is you send them money. That's all they're all about is money. It's like everybody else has come out here. Send me money. Send me money.
EquuSearch does take donations because, well, things like horses, travel, lodging, food, helicopters. We know around the Houston area, they actually contract helicopters. They do take donations. And we can see where the money goes. Okay?
Just like all of them. All of them. That's all they want. That's all they're here for is the show. Oh, send us money. Send us money. Well, they stay in fine hotels, drink it up, party, and go to the fucking lake. They ain't done a fucking thing. None of them. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the police, they have got out here and searched. And some of these people like that, but EquuSearch, they're full of shit. They ain't done nothing. The only time we've seen them was at one lake and then another lake, and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. They ain't, boots on the ground, that's bullshit. Boots on the ground to the fucking bar, maybe. Yeah, that would be freaking awesome to live the life they got. Brand new, nice homes and everything, and all this bullshit. They're all talk. I'll call them out. I've already called them out once.
Oh shit. Well, they're coming back? I think, right?
Nah, I doubt that. Not unless the money's right. And what they do with that money, they ain't give a fuck about Summer.
See anymore at this point?
I don't know. I don't know where she's at. All I know is they better.
Mama just become a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Screaming Inside says Cold Case Foundation doesn't ask for donations, yet they still don't want their help either. They do ask for donations. Everything that is generated from Chris McDonough's channel and a lot of other donations fund it, because no way they could do what they do without donations. Money don't grow on trees. That is for sure.
Out there, not unless the money's right. And what they do with that money, they ain't give a fuck about Summer.
See anymore at this point?
I don't know. I don't know where she's at. All I know is they better pray to God I don't get a hold of them. They better pray I don't get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck EquuSearch and everybody else. They don't give a fuck. None of them motherfuckers give a fuck.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
I don't give a F. I don't give an F. I don't give an F. Kat said, basically, these people think that charities should have magic money trees. For sure. Yeah, they do. They get. Remember Deb that used to be on the channel? Not any Deb that's in here. She would get highly offended by anyone that collected money. Highly offended. She argued and argued and argued about Adventures with Purpose, saying they do it for free. I'm like, really? They bought boats, trucks, trailers, gas, everything for free. Like somebody donated a boat, like their boats are free. People don't get it. Hey, it's okay. Just Wimbles gets it. Look at that. Gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Yes, I did. I apologize for that. I do. So Don's like, oh, they're just drinking it up and partying it up. All right, let's start with this. Who's drinking it up and partying it up?
Where's that pretty little zipper at? He is outside as usual. Brenda, isn't it nice to see her smile? It is beautiful to see her smile. It is. I love y'all. Y'all are great. No, you're the great one. You're great. For you. Both of you.
Thanks for being our friends.
Your friends are our see the mountain dew. Oh, that's what I'm drinking. Yeah, right? I'm drinking iced tea. Well, it's a 2-liter, so you might as well. Yeah, right? Just get one of them. Remember they're straws that has the candy in them? You just empty them out and stick that in the 2-liter bottle. Candace, can you say that on? Hey, can I have a friend join us? Yeah. Absolutely. Sure, absolutely. Dale! Go get her. You better ask her first. Can you see what's on the screen, Candace? Baby. Munich City Mom said she would like to help her. I see you. The comment that I put on the... Come here, Dale. Get your ass out of bed. He's like, I got church in the morning, woman. Come here, my friend. You're over here. Come over here. You're being online, baby. No te lo digas. It's okay. I'm going to pick up
And we're not going to forget what the DA has said. Even though I don't believe he is a good DA, because I don't think any charges should be dropped against Don and Candace ever. But this is what he said about the issues with Summer's case. Yet some people will still say, oh, she's out there somewhere. She just wandered off. Or she was abducted. Look at what Josh Melton from the TBI said. There is no evidence that she just wandered off, and there is no evidence that she was abducted. This is what the DA said.
This is a very complicated issue that has been made more complicated by the players in this drama.
Nope.
The players in this drama.
This is a very complicated issue that has been made more complicated by the players in this drama.
Nope.
All right. It's crazy. And we've been talking about Summer Wells for over 4 years. Or as Candace would say, 4 going on 5, 4 going on 6. Hell, you might as well round up to a decade, according to Candace.
You okay, Candy?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Do you want to get off? Do you need to get off of here? Or are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm looking for it. I'll get it here.
Okay. You having coffee, Candy?
Well, actually, no. I was thinking about going and making a pot, though.
Making some of that old, some of that mountain coffee, huh?
So many people have tried with her. And by the way, I just saw in chat, today is Mallory Parker's birthday. Let's lighten the load and have something fun to talk about. Let's sing happy birthday to our friend Mallory Parker. And many more, girlfriend. You deserve the best year ever.
He's staying with family right now. He can't even go. He's afraid to go stay anywhere by himself.
Huh. Has anyone ever physically talked to Dobbs from our community?
I chatted with him through. I chatted with him through Facebook chat. It's about a couple. I think it was about a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, and he bought that property. He actually didn't get up there. He owned it for a while before he got up there because he was selling all the rest of his things off in order to get the money, collect the money together.
Okay. Anything that will stick, they will run with. They will. Jackie Dobbs, leave him alone. Okay? He was at the Roadway Motel the afternoon that Summer disappeared. Okay. They have him on camera. He has spoken to the TBI. He has spoken to the FBI. They said they don't need anything more from them. Who they need things from is, well, this creature here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. They need her to fill in the timeline. They have begged. It's almost like the Idaho 4, Brian Koberger. Even though all the families have seen the evidence, there's still people saying, Brian Koberger didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. Well, you're telling me all these families keep saying that he did? And they want him dead? Or they want him in jail for life? Without parole, without an appeal? The people that are Wells sympathizers, I just will never understand. Even if they have zero to do with the disappearance of beautiful little Summer Wells, they have hurt too many children over the years. Way too many. Way too many.
Because he was going to go up there and actually put himself a little home up there, and because it's just him and his dog, he didn't need nothing big.
So him and his wife were divorcing?
Him and his wife were not together. Okay. And he was scared. He was scared. He didn't even get to see his land. He didn't even get to see it because they wouldn't let him, and there was no way to get up there to it. He wasn't allowed to go up their driveway, and he wasn't allowed to go up the neighbor's driveway. So there's no way he could get up to his land. There was no driveway or no way up to his land.
I see. I did in fact. I'm not going to say I walked up that driveway, but I looked up that driveway. And it does kind of put it into a different perspective about what he would have had to have been dealing with. Like, had he.
Okay. It's actually important. It's hard to even fathom what I'm saying right now. It's actually important what Benny is saying before he went to the Wells house, because he said, I've looked up that driveway. It's not easy to get up, but we're supposed to believe that somebody, now this is from the Wells camp, parked their car, and look at Candace. Look at Shrek in the red hat up at the corner of your screen. Look at how interested she is in this conversation. Okay? Look at that. Many people have said, well, it's almost impossible to get up that driveway. I mean, it takes a bit. It takes a bit in second gear, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, whatever, to get up there. But we're supposed to believe from Dawn, and Candace goes, I'll believe that too, that in during the day, okay, Miss Deep in Thought helicopter mom is outside planting flowers, but somebody parked at the end of the road and got up the dog trail, got into the basement for what? I don't know, and ran out with Summer. Didn't hear any screaming, kicking, anything. It makes no sense. Look at her. Look, deep in thought, look at her. Ooh, she's watching the chat. That's what she's doing. She's sounding out the words. Look at her. She wants to know what people are saying. She is watching that chat. Now, we know Benny has been there because one time he was coming down the hill to confront JLR, Molly Golightly, and Bullhorn Betty. And he slipped in dog shit and about rolled down the hill. Okay? So he knows how difficult that would be to navigate. And the dogs are always going to be a question. Always. Everyone that has been up on that hill, Ernie, Chris McDonough, Benny, Kathy, all of them, the dogs were crazy. But not that day.
I truly believe had he been there, and not saw it on site, he, would have been a different thing. But so my issue is that, do we know definitive? Hey, Yucky.
He actually bought a pig and a poke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go, baby.
And that's very strange because that was going to be like his forever home.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, that was, just imagine how he felt when he absolutely had nothing.
Yeah.
He sold everything he had, goes there, gets attacked, gets all of this on his back. He's been ridiculed, called names. He didn't only come up there and get all of that, but he also has like anyone that knows about this case staring at him, and that's wrong.
Yeah. That is strange. I do want to kind of make public my ideologies. Jody Sue, her and Andy, they both believe that the dogs are the key to this thing. And Jody Sue always puts a lot of weight on the fact that the Wells dogs weren't around for a couple of days or that day or whatever. But you have to also, when you say the dogs weren't there, you also have to make mention that there were men with chainsaws all over that hill across the street, making noise, and making a lot of noise. And so it makes sense that the dogs would be absentee because of all the noise, right?
My dogs don't like a lot of noise.
I don't know why Jody Sue would say that, because one of the dogs had just had.
Ever seen a feral dog? And their dogs are feral. I'm talking they are inbred. Some of them have 12 titties. Okay? Some of them have an extra row of teeth. All right? These are not well taken care of dogs. Okay? You ever seen a dog go crazy when they hear a loud noise? You ever see a dog go nuts when they hear firecrackers? They want us to believe that when they were trimming trees out on the road, that the dogs just laid there and didn't do anything. Didn't make a noise. Not a noise. Nothing. Nothing. Now remember, the tree trimmers were gone way before Summer disappeared. Okay? So I'm not doing any kind of Caesar Milan, dog psychology with dogs that were never taken care of. If anything, they're extra aggressive because let's face it, they are not properly vaccinated. They are not fixed. They are not properly fed. They are not properly watered. They are not properly brought inside when it's cold. Dogs don't like loud noises, and they go nuts when there is something around that they don't like. Now, if you remember, Chris McDonough was there, and there was a bunch of puppies underneath the house going beep, 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 beep. So the dog psychology is crazy. All right. Everyone that has been to that hill will say, oh, those dogs they're like a pack. They'll surround you to the point people get scared. There was a guy down in Eufaula, Oklahoma. He was baling hay. Older gentleman, surrounded by a pack of dogs. They killed him. Right? The dogs were there. And especially the mama dog that gave birth under the house and was nursing her puppies.
Had pups, and a mother dog won't leave her pups, so that dog had to be there somewhere.
Correct. Correct.
But also, you got to take in consideration Jody Sue knew all them dogs. They wouldn't carry on if she was around.
In some facet, those dogs did know her. Correct. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. All right.
Because her and Andy was both over there helping to search for Summer. She was down there wading in the creeks, and the dogs were there at that time. And they didn't seem, the dogs seemed to know her. They wasn't carrying on or bothering or barking or, so that means that they knew her.
Well, the one of the interesting things about Jody Sue and waiting, it was Candace stated she came down there and that woman hadn't been in that water by what Candace could tell. She wasn't wet.
No, she wasn't even
Candace
wet.
said she was dry as a bone.
Right. Now,
yep,
if
she
she says waiting, it gives you the ideology that you're going to come out of that thing with some sort of evidence that you've been in it, right?
Absolutely.
So not only did she say she got in it once, but she said she got in it twice.
Right.
So, there's an issue with that. Not only that, but I've been hearing a lot of chatter about.
And I'll tell you another thing I didn't like that I just recently heard her say. She just recently said that being in the water, that she got in the water, and being in the water blocks the scent of humans. So that tells me, she is schooled
in the ways.
Amen. There you go.
But it's like she's vamped this story that she wants you to believe all of this, this tech stuff, right? Like I got in the water so the dog couldn't smell. Well, then make sense about why Candace says you weren't actually in the water though. So, I don't know.
Right.
That's just strange, right? It's like, and then you got all the meth needles in the water and all this crap she's saying. And, those small, minute details aren't true. Candace said there wasn't any meth.
Candace said there wasn't any meth. Jody Sue is not educated in anything, okay, except for purple eyeshadow, glitter nails, welfare, faking illnesses, and sucking dick. That's it. That's all that woman knows. She has zero education. She's not going to work for nothing. You want to starve her? Put her food stamps under a toolbox. Put her food stamps under some work boots. She's not educated on shit. Okay? And then U.S. Libertarian said she got a sister. Woo! You gonna clean that one up? Damn, USA Libertarian. Woo! 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 And I bet she's sweating bullets right now, because if you're able-bodied, you don't get no free ride around here anymore. No. You better figure out somewhere to volunteer. Or go to work. And Jody Sue has all day and all night to be a productive member of society. Auntie Sherry said, I have a hearing deficit. I cannot possibly understand her. Huh. Well, there's nothing to say anyway. And I heard I got to put something in my mouth. Hang on. I'll do it like this. I'll put a pen in my mouth. I heard a scream. It was a muffled scream. But my son said it was animalistic. Mush mouth.
Meth garbage in that creek. You know,
There's
and I mean,
no
of course,
meth
Jody,
needles in that creek.
I know, and Jody Sue, of course, she says,
I've been in that
I'm not
creek
talking-
before.
Yeah, she says I'm not talking about the Wells side. I'm talking about my side. Man, there ain't nothing down there like that.
Right.
I
Right.
went looking for it.
She's
It's
so full
not
of
there.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm saying is I think that, it should be brought to TBI's attention. It should be brought to the FBI's attention that this needs to be reinvestigated.
From the beginning.
Amen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From the beginning.
I agree.
They don't want to talk to her ass. Auntie Sherry said, I can't even read her lips. She doesn't enunciate. Well, how can she? She's always got a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. One after another, after another, after another, after another. She probably smokes 3 packs a day. Come on. And then she would, Jack Dubs. And I'll just say, fucking people gonna go missing around here. Goodness. She's just all pissed off because Doug from No Thanks Investigates raised all that money for her to get a tiny house, and he kept the money. She didn't get shit, which is wrong to do, but she's mad about it.
Because let me mention this. This is one of the things that I have the biggest confliction with, ladies, is that when you listen to, there's 2 narratives, right? You've got the FBI narrative, and the FBI narrative tells you that the dog followed the scent down the dog trail and then it stopped at the road. But then you have the county and the state narrative, which is that there's the very real possibility. I mean, that's their words exactly. The very real possibility that she wandered away. So you have 2 different agencies saying 2 completely different things. So what really is it, right? So if it's somewhere in the middle, what is it? But I'll tell you what, neither the Fed nor the state or county narrative places Don and Candace as an offender.
The narrative is easy. Josh Milton from the TBI, he's the new agent assigned, said there is no evidence, none, that Summer wandered off on her own accord. He said, and he might have piggybacked off of the FBI card unit, there is no evidence that she, Summer Wells, was abducted from her home. I know some people will argue and they'll say, well, they don't know everything. True, they don't. That's why everything's still on the table. If more evidence comes out, then what they will do is, rethink it. Ronnie Lawson, like him or hate him, he was very clear. Everyone is a person of interest until we find out what happened to Summer. Jose said one time Summer had been missing for over an hour and they found her. Well, to find her, I'm assuming you weren't going through Wells Manor. I'm assuming you went out in the woods. But the day that Summer Wells went missing, Candace would not go into the woods because she said she's scared of the bears and the snakes and the coyotes. I have a playlist about a little girl named Athena Brownfield. Dogs, drones, helicopters, grid search, you name it. The only way they found her is that they pinned down a guy named Ivan. He is the one that buried her, and he told them where she was. We're talking about little people, okay? Little people. Now, I am certainly no expert in this, but it was said by law enforcement she could be anywhere, and it's really easy to hide her. They were begging for anything. Leslie from TBI, Tim Coop, Ronnie Lawson, you name it, were saying it's mowing season. If you just find a swatch of clothing, anything, let us know. We'll figure out if it has to do with Summer. We're not talking about a grown-ass man. We're not talking about a grown-ass woman. We're not talking about a teenager that can run away and it has the smarts to stay away, okay? Talking about a little girl. And it still perplexes me that somebody on that road was in Horse Cave, Kentucky, the day that Summer Wells disappeared. Now, I don't have any verification there was any search there. And I still think that CPS breathing down their neck might be a problem for them.
Right. Right. And, Jody Sue has me, I know, I don't care what anybody else says, in my opinion, this woman some way she has implicated herself into this, and now, it has to be taken serious.
Right. Is that
absolutely
Dallas,
Huh?
Is that Dallas?
This is one of the babies. Yeah, that's Dallas.
That dog is named for my city. She is beautiful.
Sure is.
I'm going to have to talk my wife into it.
Candace, was Jody Sue acting any way towards the children before Summer came up missing? I mean, was she being mean to them or looking at them or, I mean, did you find anything?
She wouldn't really say nothing to the kids, but she would look at them like they were like evil kids, like they were
like peasants.
They didn't need to be around here. Yeah, like peasants.
Yeah, she sure didn't like children.
Do we have any idea where Booger was at?
I have no idea.
That day, we don't.
I don't know.
Well, we do know that day he was driving his grandmother's truck, which was a red truck, right?
From what I hear, yes.
Yeah.
And doesn't Jody Sue's mother own a red pickup truck?
Yes, that was the truck that Boogie
Yeah.
would have been driving during that time.
And that's her son.
Boogie, that would be her grandson.
Okay.
That's Jody Sue's son, Boogie.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I find it funny that, it happened to be a red truck they seen turning into a driveway.
Right. And when you...
And, criminals sometimes use a little truth.
Absolutely. Not even just criminals, even liars.
Absolutely.
They say there's 50% truth in every lie, but you have to try to quantify. See, there's two scenarios that happened across on their side of the hill, which was first, they both saw the flash of a red truck.
Right.
Because Jody Sue says she asked Boogie, who was that? Right. So if Jody Sue saw it and she was able to ask Boogie.
You guys want to hear a story? When I was a little girl, my older cousins called me Booger because anytime my nose itched, I picked it. True story. I couldn't leave it alone. I couldn't stand to blow my nose because it would itch more. And they were always going, "Why are you picking your nose?" I'm like, "Because it itches."
Boogie, who was it? That automatically means that Boogie allegedly saw it too.
All right.
Then, after the truck situation, you hear the scream. Boogie and his mom both say they heard the scream.
Right.
But both of these scenarios have been unfounded.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You've got to make that make sense, and it just doesn't. It won't make sense.
It's not because it's phantom.
I wish I could comment. I wish I could comment on these comments because, man,
I told you, she's reading the comments. That's the reason she's not engaged with the conversation. Now, remember, this is the woman. Good morning, Poppy. Okay? Good morning, Poppy. This is the woman that said she has to put Summer on to the side because she isn't alive and she has to work on getting her sons back. Wow. That made my face fall off. I'm like, you have nothing else to do. Can you not work on all of it? Can you not work on everything? Sandy Gant said, "Brooks, they still kid you about it?" Oh gosh, no. That was 40 years ago. 45 years ago. Yeah, I'm aging myself.
Go ahead, Candace, comment, hun. The floor is yours up there.
Oh, this is Deborah Hayes. So I'm lying and I need rehab. So what am I lying about? That's what I'd like to know.
You know what, Candy? It wouldn't even be worth engaging those folks.
It's not worth answering those comments.
No, don't even engage them, honey.
Just, it really ain't. It really ain't. But they just make me mad. Like, I have nothing to lie about.
And not only that, but she passed the polygraph, whoever you are. And if you don't like the fact that she passed the polygraph, well, it's been almost 7 months. Their phones came back good. Yeah, everything came back good. Not one slip up. If there would have been one slip up, these folks would be in jail right now, and this would be a totally different panel. Okay?
And also, you got to take in consideration that they're not the ones saying crazy stuff like Jody Sue.
Correct. And inconsistent things, right? So, I mean.
Okay, I don't care about what Jody Sue has to say. Jody Sue was not on that hill that day. I don't know what Jody Sue saw. I know that investigators have said that the scream is unfounded. Well, I can imagine why. She said she heard a muffled scream. Okay? A muffled scream. Well, how, with all of that space and all of that terrain, did you hear a muffled scream? Her son, who was supposedly outside too, said it was animalistic. Well, this is what Can't said.
So she said, so the scream, of course, is out of the question now, right? There was no scream, right?
There's no scream, dude. She's maced all that shit up. Why? I can't lie. It's not in my metabolism.
Yeah. Okay. Let's listen to that again. Give me a second. Too many different stories from old Can't. Okay? Way too many.
So she said, so the scream, of course, is out of the question now, right? There was no scream, right?
There's no scream, dude. She's maced all that shit up. Why? I can't lie. It's not in my metabolism.
But she also said to Prayer Garden that Jody Sue wasn't out there. One minute she saw Jody Sue, then on another show, Jody Sue wasn't out there. Why does Candace call it a script? Why? Why? All right, now let's talk about this. I mean, the topic of the day is that they are trying to get custody back of Josie. I'm using his name because, well, they are flashing him all over the internet. They are. They're not going to stop. It's not going to happen, my friends. It's just not going to. What judge in his right mind or her right mind would give them custody of a feral cat, a bird with one wing, a slug, a worm that's had salt poured on it? Let this boy find a home and get guided through high school. Finish up his studies and move along into the next stage of life. Again, you guys are judge and jury around here. Would you give them another chance at being parents?
Hello there. I've been following Summerwell's case since the beginning, and I felt like going over some of the disturbing things which have been said by Summerwell's father, Don Wells. As heartbreaking as they may be, I do believe they are important when it comes to understanding the brain of one of the main suspects. Number 1. Giving props to his now adult daughter for not complaining about getting raped.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Night Owl said, Brooks, after what happened to Harmon Montgomery, I wouldn't put anything past these idiotic judges and incompetent child protective services people. Same. The difference in this case is unsubstantiated, and they're not going forward because the kids are safe now, is different than, well, Harmony's father still had rights to her. And that is sick. They signed their rights over. I don't exactly know what kind of legal judo you would have to do to undo their own decision. Baby kisses. Thank you for the super sticker. Woo! I needed that. Thank you so much.
On her 18th birthday.
As soon as she turned 18, he raped her on her 18th birthday.
Jesus.
Yeah, because he knew once she turned 18, there wasn't a whole lot she could do about it or whatever. On her 18th fucking birthday. Pretty crazy. There was things she could do, but she didn't go crying. She don't go crying and for all attention and blah, blah, blah. She dealt with it.
What father would congratulate his daughter on sucking up a violent attack and not giving any problem to the person that did it? And he gave her props. What father would do that?
I got to give my daughter props on that.
Number 2. If Dawn said just one harsh word to Summer, she would break down crying.
If I said one little word to her, she would just start crying, and I'd have to apologize 10 times. Say, Summer, I'm sorry. I didn't, she would just, it killed her if I said anything like that.
Number 3. Bringing to words the most vicious acts which he thinks might have been done to his missing daughter.
Somebody has hurt her, probably sexually, maybe beat the fuck out of her, probably killed her.
Number 4. Not wishing prison upon the person who took his daughter.
So what do you think should happen? What do you think should happen?
I have to leave it to God, and I know what prison's like. And I have mercy for anybody who's in prison, because you're lucky if you get out of there alive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So would you want to see this person in prison?
I don't know if I could do that, let's be honest with you.
Yeah, no,
it just depends on all the circumstances,
Number 5. Going on and on about how much Summer loved him instead of the other way around.
Yeah, she had to be by me. She just had to be by me.
That's her personality.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, she loves me to death.
We had such a great love for each other. She loved me, and I don't know why I've never had someone love me that much in my life. And so it's been awesome, between me and her. And so it's killed me.
She didn't want her mother. She only wanted me. I just couldn't believe it. She only wanted me. I've never had anybody love me like that. She says, but Daddy, I just want to be with you.
Number 6. He always knew something would happen to her.
I just always had this feeling that something's going to happen to her. I've always knew that something was going to happen to Summer. Something in my gut has always told me.
Number 7. Blaming the children.
They were all glued to that damn TV and their games on their phones. He just started crying. I don't even remember what I said to him or what. And he says, Dad, it's not my fault. And he was crying. I said, I know, son. I know it's not your fault.
Because they're kids. They don't exactly have that protective nerve at their ages. They're distracted by other things, like playing, school. Kids are a big old ball of energy and anxiety. Over the weekend, y'all want to hear a story? Anybody want to hear a story? You want some breaking news story from me? Here, I'll play the breaking news story while you guys decide. Oh, actually, before I get to it, hang on. Hang on. Let's see if he answers. Can you guys hear the phone ringing?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Ernie, what you doing? Ernie doesn't have any Wi-Fi and electricity right now. There's a lot of crazy storms. First, let me tell my story. There's two little
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Can you all hear Ernie? Okay, baby kisses can hear Ernie. Everybody can hear Ernie. So there's two little girls around the neighborhood that want to take care of my cat, OJ, so bad they can't stand it. Okay? I'm telling you, they do. They will put letters in the mailbox to OJ. Okay? And he plays with the letters. He loves it. He loves Christmas cards, everything. And all they want to do is play. That's all they want to do. They're obsessed with my cat. Okay. Then we have another kid that lives in the neighborhood, and he's always wanting to mow the lawn. He would love to use a chainsaw. That will never happen. He'll be like, I'll mow your yard if I can swim. You see, so when Dawn is saying things like, oh, those kids are just glued to the TV, and all they want to do is they just want to play outside. They're not at the age yet where they have that protective bone in their body because they're kids.
Right.
All right, so Ernie, sorry about your electricity and Wi-Fi and everything. There's crazy storms everywhere. Do you think that the TBI really called up old Donnie Boy and asked him to search their property?
I've only just recently seen that, but I was before. See, so what happened is I'm spotty everywhere. But what happened is when you was talking a while ago, and you was talking about the was factor, and I chimed in. I was able to chime in for just a time period.
Mm-hmm.
And that was real big. The was, the after effects is was. But yes, I don't think Candace may have put it out there if they didn't, because they would have said. I mean, that makes her look even more guilty. Like, right? I mean, I think maybe they did. I think maybe they would have, because they would ask permission first before they would go ahead and secure a search warrant. I think they would do that. So.
Now I see what you're saying, because that would be pretty ballsy to be persons of interest in Summerwell's disappearance and lie about the TBI contacting you.
100%.
Okay, but they are pretty ballsy. We got to give them that too.
They are. So you never know what might have really happened. I mean, when it comes to them, I mean, that's just, how it is with them, and that's just like I do too as well. I do think that TBI is working on a way to solving this case. I do think, like I said in October, I said give it till about October.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be solved, and I do think it's going to be that. I really do. I still do.
Oh, I think eventually. We have a question from the chat. Do you think that Cotton Simpson's murder is somehow tied to Ben Hill Road?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Do you think it's odd that Fred Hill knew things about Cotton Simpson's murder that only the police knew?
When it comes to Fred, like I said, I went on Ziggy's panel the other day. I talked with Fred. We kind of, I guess you call it talk with Fred.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Cotton, I don't know too much about what Fred knew and what he didn't know when it comes to that, just to be honest with you. I think that he knew, he probably did know a little bit, because it is the holler, and word does travel around, word of mouth does. It's just like, you know, your average citizens and know things that police will never know. That's just the way it is.
And that's what I
Like
was
people-
thinking too. And personally, I like Ziggy. I do. I think she's a sweetheart. I really do. And I thought about that the first time that Pruitt said he knew things that only the police knew. And I said, well, it's a tight community and people talk.
Exactly. It's just like anything else. People will tell other people before they'll ever tell the police. It's simple as that. That's why they have undercover work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very, very well known of that because I do it all the time. So I know, you know, you got to fit in. You got to fit in where you can get in.
Well, I think it's crazy. And I just, at first when I saw, I guess I need to retitle the show because I said, I know what happened. And I said, you know, this is a huge, big old lie. And here's the whole thing. Lying to the police is a crime. Lying about the police is not. And they're not afraid of looking bad.
And you've got a point. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a point about that. They can do things, and they know what they get away with. Don knows this. Don knows the ropes. Don knows what can go on, what can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, what it is. It is. It's just like that.
All right.
So I'm trying to get on StreamYard right now. I got some internet service.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to.
Let me see if it pulls up. I'm telling you, it is so bad over here. Lord God.
What do you think about that? I mean, that historic flood in Texas. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. I was watching a video of what it looked like before and after, and it was wild. It was wild. That place had just been like 2 days later. It was like it was destroyed. Did you see it, the before and after?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I've been watching it since Saturday morning, and I just can't believe it. Now, I will say this. I'm not going to say the names because I don't like to do that. If any creator, any channels you guys go into ask you to send them money to help the Texas flood victims, the answer is no. No. Okay? Don't do it. Please don't do it. Please
What's
don't
that
do
now?
it.
You went in and out.
Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me? Okay, we lost Ernie. I just thought that took some real nerve to say, send Cash App me and I'll help the Texas flood victims. That is disgusting.
What was your other voice saying?
Told my wife if he would have went downstairs with Summer like she wanted him to, she probably wouldn't be gone. He feels like he's kind of guilty.
A lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? You know, go get Summer now. You know, and that's happened over and over again.
I don't know why, but they're dealing with it okay more than me. They're doing a lot better than me and Candace are. Mm-hmm. Not why that is, but I don't know.
She loved to be outside all the time. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall.
Number 8. Sexualizing a 12-year-old.
That little girl right there, I seen her at the park. That poor little girl, she's got a body from hell, and I seen all kind of black all over her at the park. She'll be pregnant. She ain't pregnant right now.
How old is she?
What, 13? How old
Wait, is she half black?
12. There's 12.
Number 9. Claiming he knows where Summer's at.
Candace, my daughter's probably on the fucking streets right now somewhere. Nobody's listening to me.
Donnie, we can't do anything.
I know where she's at. in a fucking motel room somewhere with some fucking weirdo.
Well, if he knows where she's at and she's in a motel room, Don B put something up about how not Candace, Candace would love it. Summer was taken to nasty motel rooms. I haven't watched the video. You can check it out over on his channel. Okay. But I have seen, okay, here I am switching topics again. I have seen a couple of channels saying, you know, cash app me, and maybe they live locally. I don't know. Maybe they live locally. The state of Texas, I know Oklahoma has mini crews there. You know, Louisiana's digging in. So just be careful with, you know, how people want to take advantage. You didn't cause any problems, Johnny. You're okay.
Fucking motherfucker trying to sell me for a little bit of crack cocaine. I know how it works. Somewhere pulled up in a fucking motel room.
Donnie, stop letting your fucking mind go there, okay?
I've already been there. I've seen
Stop it.
I'm just telling you what I'm telling you what I've seen with my own eyes.
I believe that you have seen this.
Number 10. Again, more disturbing ideas on what might have happened. And remember, these statements were made just within a couple of weeks after Summer went missing.
I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility.
Well, I'll see her in the resurrection. As long as I keep the commandments and I do what I'm supposed to do, I'll see her in the commandments. If that's the case, you know.
My biggest fear is, you know, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something.
Statistically speaking, I mean, there's a good chance she's already dead if you look at it statistically.
These were the most disturbing things said by this man, which came to my mind.
He is a disturbing critter. He really is. All right, Ernie has connection. And like him or hate him, Ernie really cares about Summer Wells' case. All right, Ernie, I'm going to start with a comment from our friend Pat. She says, Dawn knows an awful lot about bad shit for someone that only hangs with good people from church. Oh, we have a horrible connection. Horrible connection. Dawn has talked about hammers, hotel rooms, called Summer fish food, you name it. Said he went down the hill to talk to the police, dungeons. He taunted Brandy Vaughn. We lost Ernie. Taunted Brandy Vaughn, trying to put some images in her head about her abducted son, proven by the FBI card unit. There's 4 suspects. I can't speak as to why they haven't been arrested. I don't work in that department. It is one thing after another. Let me look at let's see. Okay, 46% of you said, here's the poll. In your opinion, did the TBI ask for permission to search from the wells? 46% said, sure, it's easier than getting a warrant. 45% said, nah. 10% said, well, maybe, and commented below. Well, y'all, again, this has been a great show for Summer Wells. I can't thank you enough for keeping Summer alive. Okay? keeping Summer's story out there. I think it shocks the shit out of certain people. I say certain people, none of you. I think it shocks them that anyone would be interested in finding Summer Wells. I mean, I took a beating on this channel a couple weeks ago from someone that said, there's other kids missing. Why do you always talk about Summer? I don't talk about Summer every day. No. No. I could. But I don't. Because there's a lot of missing children. And I get basically the same thing on my news feed that you all do. When someone brings me a case and they say, hey, can we talk about this? The answer is always, yeah. Yeah. Whether I do a video, a short live, because it depends on how much information that we have. So put a 1 in chat if you want to continue to cover Summer Wells' case. There we go. Rock and Robin said 1. Then I'll just take that as a yes from everybody. All right. I think I'm going to do a show later in the afternoon. I've got some things to do this afternoon because I want to talk about the flooding in Texas. I just ask one thing, just one thing. I don't want any politics brought into it. I think when it comes to the flood, which is historic, I think we're all on the same page because the weather has been scary for centuries. Centuries. You never know when a tornado is going to drop down. I mean, you can see a hurricane coming like 10 days before, but you don't exactly know where it's going to hit. A wall of water coming and wiping out all of these people that were just hanging out for 4th of July is horrific. I mean, it is a natural disaster. That's what they're going through. That's what they're going through. All right, you guys, I will see you back here in a couple hours. You are the absolute best. And we will have another show about Summer on Wednesday. Because hopefully that attorney has some time to actually explain and break down the document for us. All right, you all are the best. Me love you long time.